Hi, I'm Dennis Law. I'm the mayor of the City of Renton, and we're here today to try to capture on video a few things that people recall about Don Persson, who retired after 33 years as Deputy Chief of the Renton Police Department and then served for many years now as a Renton City Council member. Don's finally retiring, and it's not too soon because he's been standing around here just taking up space for so long that it's time for us to get some new blood in here, and this is going to be a golden opportunity this year with a new election. But frankly, Don has been a tremendous community servant in so many different ways. I know people are going to really miss him, and they're going to have really fond memories of all the things that he's been able to do. And so we're pretty excited to put together a video where a lot of his colleagues and other people here at City Hall can share a few of their thoughts about him.
Don, if you're watching this, this means you're retired, and I can say anything I want.
Don, what are you thinking? Retirement? I love it. You deserve it.
Hi, Don. I heard you're retiring. I'm not sure what we're going to do here without you. Don is priceless.
Don's like a brother.
Good old boy.
Dedicated.
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 Wise.
Genuine.
Leader.
Generous.
Generosity.
Giving.
Compassionate.
Kind.
Outgoing.
Phenomenal.
Big dog.
Caring.
Enthusiastic.
Go-to guy.
Passionate.
Conscientious.
Bold.
Infectious.
Jovial.
Funny.
Jovial.
Terrific.
Committed to Renton.
I've known Don since 1994 when I started the Renton Reporter.
You were one of the first people I met when I came to the city in 1990.
Since September of 1971.
You know, you hired me 42 years ago.
I've known Don for well over 40 years.
I think this year is my 39th year to know Don.
I have known Don for nearly 30 years.
I've known Don since I moved to Renton in 1986.
I've known Don for just about 30 years.
We've known each other for over 30 plus years.
I've known Don Persson since I believe I was 4 or 5 years old.
I've technically known Don for 36 years. I know I don't look that old, but it's true.
So I've known Don for 25 years.
I've known Don for 17 years, ever since I was hired with the City of Renton.
I have known Don for 15 years.
And I met Don when I worked at the Chamber of Commerce in 1994.
I have known Don since 2005 when I came to the mayor's office.
I've known him since I started working here almost 22 years ago.
Well, I met Don, my brother from another mother, it's been about 15 years now.
Don and I first met in 2007.
I've known Don since about 2007.
I have known Don for 6 years.
I've known Don about nearly 2 years.
Now, Don has always been a pussycat. He's big in stature, but he's also big in heart, and Don is very easy to get to know and to work with, and very likable, and never came across threatening in any way.
When I first met Don, was I afraid of him? No, I wasn't afraid of him. I don't think anybody's afraid of Don.
Very, very afraid. You have to remember that Don was a police captain, so he was packing.
No, I wasn't. I mean, because like I said, Don is very warm and open, so no, I wasn't afraid of him.
I was not. I thought he was a very gentle and kind police officer.
Honestly, thinking about Don, and he is an intimidating person to meet, and I can't imagine I wasn't intimidated upon first meeting him.
No. Okay. Maybe afraid's not the right word. Intimidated. I mean, he's a powerful guy. So, but I don't know. Afraid. No.
No, wasn't afraid of him. He is a big teddy bear with the biggest heart ever.
Yes. At the beginning, after I got appointed, he knew everything. I didn't know anything. And I didn't want to be the council member that crossed Don Persson.
Are you kidding? He was a teddy bear. No, can't imagine anyone being afraid of Don.
Not at all. Not at all. He's always been a very nice man.
No, I wasn't afraid of Don.
Are you kidding? Absolutely. Who wasn't? I first met Don over a cup of coffee to talk about the RFA and budgets.
When I first met Don, I wasn't afraid of him. I remember there being talk kind of like that, but I was never afraid of Don.
I wasn't afraid of him, but I always kind of felt that he, a sense of respect.
So when you first met Don, be honest, were you afraid of him?
Yes. He is kind of intimidating.
And yes, he terrified me. He walked in and he had his police uniform on and he had a stern face and I thought, oh my God.
I was afraid of Don when I first met him too. Even though I had worked for police departments before, Don intimidated me. But now I can't think of anybody that I enjoy more on council.
Never scared me until I start cooking.
No, I think Don was just a big, happy guy, but the one you need to fear is Vicky.
I know. I'm a little bit afraid of Vicky too.
She is tough. She is tough, so watch out for Vicky.
She's the enforcer.
Probably the most recent one is, even though Don's been retired from the police department for a long time, he was riding with me. I think we went to lunch and we're coming back from lunch, and of course my car is an unmarked city police car, so it's got radios and lights and siren and all that stuff in it. And we heard a call come over the radio where they were looking for a guy in the downtown area, and we were close by, so I just made a turn onto one street and we saw him going down the street between a couple of buildings. And so Don immediately grabbed the microphone and was on the radio, radioing in where we were at. So, you know, once a cop, always a cop.
So a good story about Don would be when I was first on city council, you get a department head tour of the different areas of the city. And when I was done with all the tours, Don said, now you get to go on the Don tour. And the other councilmen laughed because they all knew that they'd been on the Don tour of the different areas of the city.
And then there's the Don Persson tour that you have to take when you're a council member, where he takes you to all the different places in the city. And we were going up to the city shops to visit, and he liked to do it where it was just him giving the tour and there was no pomp or circumstance. But somehow staff or the administrators heard that Don was coming, and it was just funny because what he wanted to be this very loose and formal tour turned into something very formal. And he was like, gosh, I don't know how they found out. And with the trademark Don laugh.
One of my strongest memories of Don was when I had been elected to council in the early 90s, and Don was he was at a council meeting as a deputy police chief, sort of providing order for the council meeting. And I remember member of the community coming up and speaking at the podium, who was very agitated at the time, and so agitated, in fact, that the mayor was concerned and started gaveling to have the person escorted. But Don came up and was so gentle that he diffused the situation so well. I remember at the time being really impressed with how Don easily communicated with a person, warmly looked them in the eyes, got them to just, said it was probably a good time to go sit down, and they did, and they were able to stay with us for the rest of the meeting. I thought Don did an amazing job, and I've seen him do that kind of thing numerous times.
I do remember when I did first meet him in that 2007 campaign, he originally did draw an opponent, and Don being, the candidate he is, wanted to know why the gentleman was running against him, talked to him, found out they were actually more in common than not, and the guy who was running against him decided not to run at the end of the day.
The first time that I met Don, I had lunch with the mayor and him. And after an hour and a half, I left the restaurant and I realized that during the whole time, I thought that Don was the mayor.
Probably for the last 10 years at least, once a year at every council meeting around the fall timeframe, Councilman Persson would always say, recognize our parks maintenance teams for being out in all our parks and picking up all the fall leaves that come down every year. And he was determined to get some kind of magic leaf picker-upper machine, if you will, to make sure that it could help assist all the crew time that's meant to be out or taken away from the parks, and so that they're not always doing that. They could address some of the other things, but he's always mentioned he was going to try to figure out some kind of leaf machine.
So I've had the opportunity to drive around the city of Renton with Don on many occasions, and the thing that I always enjoyed the most about my experiences driving around the city was it became clear to me Don has chased down and arrested someone in almost every block of this city, and the stories and the history are always unimaginable to hear from his point of view and perspective.
Being the people person that Don is, he's always loved attending the Public Works Department's annual employee recognition picnic. It's very important for Don to go to events like that, and he does a lot of mingling and talking with the staff members. One summer, we made a mistake. We neglected to consult Don's calendar when we set up the meeting or the picnic, and Don was out of town that day. Did we hear from Don about this gaffe? Let me just say that from that day forward, we made ultra sure that we consulted Don's calendar before we set up the dates of the picnics.
One thing I got to tell you about is Don was like no other. The guys, we'd be training somewhere at a certain site, and you're out there in the cold or something, either maybe doing driver's training or firearms, and you'd hear beep beep, and here comes Don with his truck with his barbecue attached to come over and provide lunch unannounced for you and the guys. What captain did that?
So Don was approving vouchers for the RFA in one of our governing board meetings, and he was rather upset about the fact that we had spent $500 on flowers. As it turns out, we have one of our finance analysts, Jennifer Flowers, who attended a class. Don quickly realized it, but by that time it was too late.
Some stories can't be told, but I'm sure that anyone who worked with him at the police department is going to tell about him sitting on top of a patrol car surrounded by water. And I'll bet that picture shows up at his retirement.
Back when I was younger, at some point I must have mentioned to Don that ever since I was a little kid, I have always considered Kenworth semi-trucks my trucks because they have my initials on the front of them. And so after I told him that, a few weeks later, this hat showed up on my desk with my initials, Keith Woolley Kenworth. Don had paid a visit to PACCAR, and he picked up this hat for me. And so it's been my work hat ever since, and it's also a great example of how Don, he loved Renton, he cares for the city, but he also cared for all of the city employees. No matter what your position, he made sure to know everybody, know their name, say hi, and his laugh always let you know that he was wandering your floor. You knew he was coming, so I'll always be able to remember Don. Thank you very much, Don.
In the beginning of Renton River days, we started with scratch, with no money, and we did have money from the city, However, we needed to raise funds, and I remember when we would go out to businesses, and at that time Don was still on the police force, so quite often he was in uniform. And I kind of remember some people thinking, oh wow, I probably better give them money because this is a policeman.
And I remember once traveling in the car with him. I think we might have been going to Olympia to meet with our legislators or something. And he was talking about, we were just having a conversation, and for me, I would never refer to the mayor as anyone else except Mr. Mayor, and I would never talk to the council members as anything except, council member and their last names. And there was some conversation that we were having, and Don said something about first names, and I said, I could never do that. That would be like sin. And he looked at me and he laughed like, what's this person talking? And I said, no, where I come from, you always refer to people, with respect and their last names. And for me, it was hard enough to call J, but somehow I managed to learn to do that. And he looked at me and he laughed. And now I am saying Don, and it's taken me 15 years to learn how to do that.
When I first met Don, I did not know who he was. I walked into the building official's office, Ron Nelson at the time, and Don was sitting in the chair in plain clothes. And he actually helped me out with something. I had had a kind of disturbing encounter with someone, and I thought it was kind of funny and dismissed it, but Don took it very seriously and helped me see why it was important, and we were able to find the individual and get them some help.
I work for the water department, as most of you don't know, and many years ago I was coming up through the ladder, and we had a customer who did not want to pay his water bill. And this guy was pretty ingenious. In fact, we take his meter out and he put a jumper in. And I'm not going to tell everybody how to build a jumper because then everybody in the city would want to build one. But anyway, this guy had put this jumper in, he'd turn his water back on, he'd go away and we'd go pull it. And we played this game for 2 or 3 weeks. Well, all of a sudden I go up to pull this jumper out and this guy figured me out. He filled the meter box full of concrete with the water turned back on. How do you fix that, right?
Oh, wow.
Well, I mean, so I thought about it. Kind of pretty good, but we got to get this guy. And so we kind of needed a partner who was a little bit up the chain because we'd never done this before, to go out and actually cut and cap somebody's water at the water main. And so it was kind of new ground, and Eloise and I were both kind of wondering, Well, when Don said, I'll support you two, we knew we had it. City Council was going to support us. So we went out, dug this guy's water service up, and disconnected him from the main, filled the hole back in, and asphalted it.
Well, now we're all direct deposit. Don is one of the few left in the city who still gets a paper check, and Julia or I have to go pick it up, and then Don comes in for his walking around money.
And I would agree, that's actually one of my funniest ones too. The girls down in finance are going to miss me because I won't ever see them anymore when Don's gone. He's the only reason I get to go down there twice a month.
Don's got well over 50 years of community service to the city of Renton, to the people of Renton. One of the things that he's always done is thought about ways that the city in particular could better serve the public, and so he has been instrumental in a lot of things that go well beyond the police department. He was one of the leading founding members of Renton River Days. He, for so many years, through our Rotary Club, led the feeding program that we have for Thanksgiving for the senior citizens at the senior center, and has always steps up to help out wherever the need may be. And so his legacy, I think, will be that he's an individual who really epitomizes somebody who gives back to the community they live in, and he does it very naturally. He really cares about people, he cares about the city, and that's the life he's led for all the years that I've known him.
Not only your service to the police department and the city council, but you were one of the founding board members of Renton River Days. You gave untold hours to help ensure that that remains one of the most successful festivals in the area today. Communities and Schools, Renton Rotary, REACH, and so many other organizations are better because of your service. You proudly wore the title of Chief Budget Overseer on the City Council, and frankly, the city's budget process and its product are better because of your oversight. You and I we're old school when it comes to communications. We're not big texters or emailers, and we both agreed that whenever we heard or read anything that was attributed to the other, it seemed to be confusing, we would call each other up and either talk on the phone or schedule some time face-to-face, because nothing beats face-to-face or direct communications, and we would do that, and almost always it cleared things up, and I think it helped keep the trust that we had in each other over the years. We don't always attribute diplomacy to you, Don, but I think you were one of the more successful diplomats on the city council. You had a very unique way of doing that. You would, if there was ever a issue, you'd get two sides together and invite them for lunch or dinner. And I can't think of very many issues that were not resolved over one of your famous home-cooked meals.
Don's legacy. I think unfortunately Don's legacy will never truly be what Don is all about. The amount of time that he's donated and the effort that he's put into the city without recognition, I don't think will ever truly be known. The things that he did outside of the scope of vision of people, and I think that there's a few of us that know what he's done over the years, but unfortunately his true legacy of giving to this community will never truly be known.
Gosh, there's many. He's been a great fiscal manager. He's made government really efficient. But more than anything else, I think I would say his greatest contribution, his greatest legacy is that he's made us all safer. Starting back at the time he was a police officer, deputy police chief, and then taking those skills and applying them to a city council role. He knows so much about policing. More than anybody I know. He's helped our city as we've worked our police policies. We've always been ahead of the curve with our police department. Had excellent use of force policies that were much better than anybody else in the state at de-escalating incidents. Had a lot of community policing thanks to Don. Don has contributed mightily to the state police crime lab by assisting, being in a committee that's overseeing that work. He's helped us solve crimes. I've had a number of times when in the past I've talked to Don about crimes that I've heard about in the past, some notorious crimes, and it always amazes me how well Don remembers not only the incidents, not only the victims and the perpetrators, but also the police work that went into solving the crimes. He's applied all that to the city, and I think in a result that's left us all safer. It's left our police force as a top-notch police force. We have a great culture, and I thank him for all of that.
I think Don's legacy is going to be in the time and the talent that he's given to the city of Renton. Over 50 years, you look at the things that have happened. There probably wouldn't be a Renton River Days if Don Persson wasn't part of the city of Renton. The things that he's done as a council member, the things that he did when he was serving on the police force. I think Don's legacy is going to be the many, many things that he has left his imprint on, and that will live on for a very long time.
For many years to come, our city is going to be safe because Don advocated for our police to have the best quality training facility so our community will be protected as well as our police force.
Definitely, I think it's in two areas. One, in public safety for sure. That is where his legacy goes back the furthest with the city in terms of his time spent with the city. And then I would say he followed that up definitely as a budget hawk. Definitely no detail too small in any amount of finances that he's looking through. So nothing gets by him.
I think that Don, with his tenure as a council member in particular, but also all of the years that he provided service to Renton in the police department, there are a lot of legacies that he has left. One of the ones that maybe comes foremost to my mind is Don always, in his council position, wanted to engage every resident, be responsive, provide great service to the citizens and the businesses in Renton, and improve their lives. I think that was one of his primary motives for being on the council. I think he set a standard in these areas which continues to be a part of the City of Renton's culture.
I can't begin to explain all the things that have happened in this city because of you. The neighborhood program, the many dinners, the many fundraisers, the senior dinner for Thanksgiving. But you always did it with a positive attitude. You always just made it happen. And everybody loved to be around you because they loved your laugh. But most of all, it was about your community service. You didn't just live here. You worked here, you were an elected official here, and you gave so many hours to the community unconditionally. Whenever you saw somebody needed something, or we were missing something, or somebody was lacking what they needed in their life, you connected, you found the dollars, and you brought everybody together to make it happen.
I think Don's legacy is really the foundation of public safety and commitment to the police officers and public safety for the citizens of the City of Renton.
Oh gosh, I'm going to go back to his giving and his caring for the community and for the city. There's things such as the innovation and implementation of River Days. He was on the ground floor of that. He was on the ground floor of the neighborhood program and the neighborhood picnics, giving back to the community in that respect. We have the senior activity center picnic, which is in conjunction with River Days. He did all the barbecuing for that forever. We also have the Thanksgiving dinners that have been held at the senior center that feed over 250 seniors every year, and I believe, it's over 25 years of service of him doing that every Thanksgiving with some other volunteers, but he's the main coordinator of that. And then the other big thing which shows to his heart again is he always has found through his different food services, obviously with picnics and things, that he would be able to deliver food to the Center of Hope, which is for a women and children shelter here at City Hall. So definitely his volunteerism, his giving, and his caring about the community.
You know, he certainly has left a strong legacy of fiscal stewardship. He was known for his strong financial acumen and his conservatism as it came to city budgets. And he's leaving with a legacy of the city being in the strongest financial position it's ever been in during the 100+ year history of the City of Renton.
I think everything we see around us has got Don, because he has always been looking out for the well-being of the city. He also brings with him a great sense of the safety of our city, because prior to being with the council, he has served in the police force. So he's looking out for, you know, the future of Renton, the safety of Renton, to make sure that the community spirit stays here. And I think we have so much to be thankful for. The other great legacy that Don is leaving, and I hope we're able to cherish and continue that, is he always thinks about the people. You know, some small things that people don't always talk about. Don would always take Julia and April out for lunch. You know, it's the small things that go unnoticed, but without which the city wouldn't run. And he's always got that in mind.
You've done so much, you know. I remember one of the first times you rode with me. I'm looking around and everybody's going, "Hi, Don. Thanks, Don. See you, Don." Those are all the citizens. And I'm thinking, how does this guy know this many people? Well, I know that now. is because you've done so much. You're there for everybody. If anybody has a problem, you would fix it, and you are a fixer.
So Don's legacy for the City of Renton, I think there's two things. First of all would be his recognition that the government needs to be responsive to its community. And second of all is leading by example that government officials need to be involved and engaged in that community. No one has done what Don has done in this community.
Loyalty. He's enthused and loyal.
I think he has, he's always been very caring of Renton, and his legacy would be that he just was there when people wanted to ask questions, or he was just a guy that people liked and would enjoy working with. People would say, well, that Don Persson, he was a nice police officer, and he was a very good councilman.
I think Don's legacy, boy, for the City of Renton, just having to choose one, I think he's just been so community committed. He's always somebody that I've looked up to, and I know that he has our community members at heart. He loves the City of Renton, and he's proud to be here, and I think he gives that same sort of energy out to the people that spend time with him or that have worked for him, like me. In the past, I have never doubted for one moment that the City of Renton is everything to him, and I was so happy when he decided, when he retired from the police department, and then when he became a part of City Council, I was thrilled because I knew there would really be nobody better that would be so invested in the City of Renton and do whatever he could to make it a great place.
Don made you proud to be a part of Renton, the city, and the family of employees. So.
I think his legacy is that he always cared about the city and the big picture, and he always tried to do whatever would benefit the Renton residents, and he wasn't dealing in politics or anything like that. It was always about Renton and the community and what he could do to make it a better place.
I think Don's legacy is that it's an improved community through his passion, his dedication, and his love of all the people who live here. And he is always going to be part of the code compliance team, always letting us know if there's something that needs attention. And in that way, it's always improving the city.
And your legacy to this city, I can't even name some of the things. The senior Thanksgiving, you barbecue for everybody and everything if you feel like it's going to benefit the city or the programs in any way. You love this city, and it's evident, and you have touched so many lives within this city that it's insurmountable, the people that you've touched, including me. Thank you.
Don's biggest legacy is that he always connected with the employees. He would come in, you wouldn't even know he was here, and he would be just wandering around saying hello to everybody, telling them what a great job they do, you know, asking if there's anything that he could do for them as a council member. And I just think that's a big, big, giant thing for the city.
Congratulations, my friend. The halls of City Hall will miss your laughter and your smile. Yeah, and I know I still owe you 2 boxes of Spuds.
I've had the honor of sitting on the left and right side of Don for the last 8 years, and I will miss the little banter between the two of us come next January. Don, it's been a pleasure, an absolute pleasure and a joy to serve with you, to sit next to you. You really helped mentor me throughout my time on the council, and I will never forget that.
Don, it has been remarkable and wonderful serving with you for 20 years on council, and I will think about you all the time after you retire from the council. We'll miss you mightily. Thank you for everything you've taught me, and thank you for all the great memories.
Don, thank you for your leadership, thank you for your mentorship, and thank you for being my friend. We are gonna miss you a lot. I don't know actually what are we gonna do without you here, but I know that you are just one phone call away from all of us. Thank you for everything that you have given to Renton. Vicky, take care of Don. I love you both.
I would just want to say thank you for all your years of service. You definitely have been someone I've looked up to in terms of inspiration for how to be a good council member, how to be a leader within the city. You have so many years of service and you're going to be sorely missed because your institutional knowledge, that legacy that goes back so far, we just collectively got a little bit less smart as a council because we don't have that history, that knowledge anymore with you being gone. But we know you're still around and we want to thank you for, or I want to thank you for all the things that you've done in your many years of service, and I'm ready to take that torch if I can. Thanks.
So Don, the city will not be the same without you. And even though you're retiring, you're still going to be my neighbor, and we're still going to drag you into stuff. So I think you've earned your time in the sun and your retirement, and I hope you enjoy it.
If it wasn't for you and the City of Renton, you know, I don't know what I would have done. I mean, because of you and the City of Renton, I've been able to buy a house, raise a family, provide an education for my daughter. And it was because of you, Don. So thank you so much.
I just want to say congratulations. You so deserve your retirement. And I'm so excited that you and Vicky just get to go out and enjoy everything that you want to do together.
Wish him the best of luck. He deserves this. He's been a good friend and a good person for the city.
Things that you have done for this city and me personally, there's no words that can say how much you mean to me and Norma. We owe you a lot. And anytime you're ready to come back down to the ocean and have a good time, you're always welcome. But from my brother to another mother, I love you and hope that you and Vicky will go ahead and have a good time and enjoy the rest of your lives together. See you later, bro.
Don, I just want to wish you a very happy retirement, and I guess it's your second retirement, so have a very happy retirement. Enjoy every moment.
Hi Don, I heard you're retiring. I'm not sure what we're going to do here without you. Did you know this last check run was 145 pages long? And did you know that we paid Puget Sound Energy $73,495.22. The detail on their bill was 6 pages long. And we paid Rainier Wood Recyclers $350. What was that for? Who's gonna mind the store when you're gone? Are you sure you want to leave all this kind of fun behind? On a more serious note, the last 3.5 years working with you has been delightful. I just wish you the best in your next adventure, and I'm sure it's going to be a tad more fun than this. Thank you for everything, Don.
Same from me, Don. Thank you. Thanks for all the great barbecues and absolutely all of your time has been for our community. Way to go. What a great leader and what a great person to follow. I hope I can be one half as good as you are in my next 30 or 40 years.
He is the person to contact. He knows everybody in the city. He's very well respected. He's going to be totally missed.
He is. I've often said the heartbeat of Renton runs through their kitchen.
Yeah, I feel like, and that's exactly true. I feel like Don and Vicky have sort of adopted us because every time there's fresh clam chowder or a little barbecue going on, we show up. So.
Uninvited or not.
Don, Vicky, enjoy the retirement. Have a great time. Look forward to seeing you as often as possible.
You've adopted us, you've fed us, you've plied us with fine wine. We will always be profoundly grateful for your friendship, and Renton is really going to miss you. But thank goodness you live not too far from us, so we won't miss you. And now that you have some free time on your hands, Mondays at 7 o'clock, we'll be over. Thanks,
care.
Don.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye now.
Well, it's about time Don did something else besides roll him around City Hall. I mean, we've been trying for years to get him out of here, and it's been impossible because he just is so connected. And so wish him the best in retirement.
Hi, Don. This is Benita and Jasmine.
Hi.
And we're here as family because you've embraced us as family. So we want to say that in the years that we've known you, we've just so valued your leadership, your consistency, your modeling what it looks like to really hold and uplift a family together. Not only your own family, but the whole city of Renton. It's just been an honor to work with you.
I just wanted to say thank you for being such an important person in my life and just an inspiration to all of us, and we're so glad that you have been in our lives.
And just know that when you retire, that you're not retiring from us. We'll always be your family.
So when I think about you, I think of the joy you've brought, how much you love your family, your daughter, your granddaughter, your wife Vicki, and all the people that have been part of you. So I say thank you as a friend, and I know I will stay in touch for many years to come, but keep doing what you're doing and have a great time.
Dawn, I am so very proud of you. You have spent the last 53 years of your life serving the citizens of Renton. We have had so many wonderful adventures, and I'm looking forward to many, many more. Now, for those of you out there that think Dawn is going to ride off into the sunset, you are sorely mistaken. He will now become Citizen Dawn.
Hi, I'm Alexis. I've known Don my entire life. Well, he's my grandpa, so obviously I've known him my entire life. When I first met him, I obviously didn't think he was scary because, well, I was a baby. I've heard he can be intimidating, but trust me, he's one of the biggest teddy bears you will ever meet. He is such an amazing person, and I'm so proud of everything that he's accomplished. It's hard for me to just choose one word to describe him. He is the most kind-hearted, genuine person I've ever met in my entire life. He is never afraid to give and help someone when they are in need. He has done so much for his community, and I know he will continue to even though he's retired. I know his legacy will last forever in the city of Renton because of the amount of work that he's done for his city. I am so amazed by everything that he's done and everything that he's accomplished. I am so inspired by him every day because he literally is probably one of the best people I've ever met in my entire life. He has helped his community and so many people around him so many times, and I hope that one day I can have as much of an impact on a city, or at least someone, as he has on so many people. I'm so happy that you're my grandpa, and I'm so encouraged by everything that you've done, and I'm so happy for you that you're retiring. I hope you have the best retirement ever, and I'm sorry I couldn't be there for this. I love you so much.
I love you, Council Member Dawn / Citizen Dawn.
How has Dawn helped us in the community?
You know, so many ways. When our dog Charlie bit the mayor.
Again.
Who do we go to?
We go to Dawn.
Go to Dawn.
When the sewer line plugs up, who do you call?
Dawn.
When you want to rat out the neighbors on their drug dealing, who do you call?
We go to Dawn.
When you want some help with the I-405 construction project, who do we call?
We go to Dawn.
When you want a great recipe for barbecue?
Always go to Dawn. Always.
When you don't want to drink alone?
When you need to drink wine with somebody, call Dawn.